Welcome back to another episode of Empowerment in Illness, the podcast where we explore ways to thrive while living with chronic illnesses. I'm your host, Gwen, and today is a special episode. I am going to have my daughter, Maddie, and my husband, Mike, on the show today. As many of you know, I've been living with lupus for many moons, and now I'm 6 years cancer-free after battling breast cancer. Today, we're going to talk about our journey from their perspective. First, I want to thank Maddie for coming on.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
So, Maddie, can you share what it was like when you first found out about lupus and then later about breast cancer, my diagnosis?
Well, when I found out about your lupus, I obviously was very little because I was born with you already having lupus. So I kind of just grew up just seeing you deal with it. It was pretty normal. I didn't know that there was anything different. But when you got diagnosed with breast cancer, I was a senior in high school, and so I was older then, and I was able to have a better understanding of what was going on and actually getting to see it like in real time then.
What, the sickness or me being sick?
Mm-hmm. Instead of it just being like, oh, my mom is sick, that was just normal. But now I was like, okay, I see what's happening. And me being a senior, I was a bit more, mentally developed. So I know not all the way, but I know
your brain wasn't fully developed.
The process a little bit, yeah.
Well, being diagnosed with lupus, yeah, like you were born into it, so I had it. But breast cancer, did it shock you? Did it scare you?
It was definitely overwhelming because knowing, since you had already had medical issues before, and I was kind of just pretty calm with it. Like, if you weren't too stressed about it, then I wasn't too stressed about it, but I could tell that this was something that obviously it's unexpected, but it's just kind of one thing on top of another. And so I was trying to do my best to not worry as much and not worry you by, having you have to take care of me in my mental state because you were already going through so much. So it was scary, but I had to do my best to keep calm.
Now, like you said, you were born into a family where I was already dealing with stuff. So how has our relationship changed or strengthened, throughout everything that we've been going through, or I've been going through?
I definitely think we have gotten a little bit closer in that sense, just because I have a better understanding of what exactly it is that you are going through. Me being a kid and just seeing my mom, is tired or it hurts because we can't play that often, you just want to lay down, going from that to actually knowing what's going on. It's definitely made us have a bit of a stronger connection.
Yeah, because I remember there were days when I couldn't get up or I wasn't feeling well, and you do your homework in the bed with me, while you watch TV or you read a book. So I remember those days. You remember those?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the ways that you supported me when I was managing lupus and trying to recover from breast cancer?
I was definitely trying to help out as much as I could, whether that be, going to get your medications or cooking you food or even offering to give you herbs and make teas, just more plant-based medicine. I was trying to offer help in whatever ways that I could, but most of the time I would just have to be there and just lay next to you and support you, and that was it. So whatever you needed me to do, I was there.
Now you were seriously instrumental with the breast cancer because you changed bandages, you did the what do you call that, the little grenades, the draining tubes, you worked on those. So yeah, you were instrumental in that.
I stepped up as a nurse in that time.
So how do you balance your own life and responsibilities while you were being there for me?
I just had to kind of realize that there was only so much I could control, and I mean, being a kid and watching your parent go through this, there's nothing in actuality, there's nothing that you can control. So just learning how to separate myself and how to focus on me and being there for you whenever I was needed, and just not allowing myself to stress out about it too much, because there was no point.
Did you stress out?
Yeah. I mean, it's not easy watching your mom have breast cancer, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And I couldn't show it to you that I was stressed out, because then that would make you even more stressed out. So I just had to, be a good soldier and cry in my pillow.
So what about when I was with lupus and I lost my hair?
Well, because I was born into that wasn't anything different. Me growing up and me being raised in that environment with you taking your meds and you having surgeries, because I was also there when you had your shoulder surgery. I was, like 6 or 7, I think.
Yeah.
So I was a kid, but I was still, old enough to know, like, I can't touch mom's arm right now, or she has to change her bandage, so I have to help her clean it, things like that, where
yeah,
I could help, but as a kid it's like I'm just playing doctor right now. But then once I got older and you got breast cancer, then I understood how important it was. But
do you remember when with the surgery on the shoulder,
mm-hmm.
and I couldn't lift my arm up, so it was hard trying to clean in there under the arm,
mm-hmm.
and then it smelled horrible.
It was stinky. Yeah.
And you made me laugh with that a lot.
But my little 6-year-old self was trying to help out as much as I could, because I had already spent the first 6 years of my life just knowing that mom needs a little extra help sometimes, or just a bit more time to rest, so it was just kind of normal.
Yeah, but when did you figure out, ooh, my mom's different from other moms?
I don't think I ever thought that, until you told me what lupus is and why you take medications, but I wasn't around any other moms, not like that.
Do you remember what I told you?
Well, yeah, you used Osmosis Jones, the movie, as a reference, and then I watched it 1.5 million times, and anytime she said that her lupus was flaring, I was like, Osmosis Jones is gonna get him. I would just use that movie, but it was all pretty normal to me. I don't think there was anything different, because it wasn't like I was 5 years old and then all of a sudden things changed. It was always that way.
Yeah. So for the reference of Osmosis Jones, Chris Rock played white blood cell, so he's there to protect the city. And then there was a medication called Drex, right? They got together and then they were protecting the city. And I told her my Osmosis Jones, something happened to him, so he's being a bad guy and he's hurting the city. So that's what lupus was, because my immune system is attacking my body.
Mm-hmm.
Was that hard to understand?
Not really. I didn't try to understand it too much. I saw the movie, and then because it's a cartoon as well, half real, half cartoon, it made it a lot easier for me to understand. And because it already is somewhat medical, where the character Osmosis Jones is a white blood cell, and then the person or the character that helps him is a little pill, that was kind of a perfect example, especially for me being a kid and still finding things out.
How do you stay positive and motivated in supporting me through all of my health challenges?
Well, I have seen what you have gone through, and I have seen how you have continued to push through it, and you're still here, you're still going, you're still working, you're still exercising, you're still doing everything, and that is definitely a motivator in itself, just because you are somewhat leading by example. I don't I don't have to worry about you because I know that you will do everything in your power to make sure that you are okay. Like the first sign of any danger or anything like that, you're going to the doctor, and then there's nothing I could do from there anyway. So that's essentially, yeah, how I stay motivated and positive. Is I know you got it. You've been dealing with this since before I was even born, and you still chose to have a child through having hip surgery. Like, you have had more surgeries than anyone I know and have been through so much more, and you haven't given up once.
What have you learned about resilience and strength from my experience with both lupus and breast cancer? And how does that fit with your resilience and strength?
Well, from you, like I said in the last question, you get up and go. And you cannot be more resilient than that. That is the definition of resilience, is pushing through whatever is trying to keep you down. And you are resilient. Like, you are the meaning of the word. There is nothing more I'm meant to learn from that, except for just continue, or to strive to be at least as half as resilient as you are.
So does that help you when you're down and when you need to push through? Like, you had surgery on your shoulder.
About a year ago.
Did me going through the stuff that I went through, did that help you into where you saying, like, if my mom can do it, then I can take care of this and this won't?
Yeah, definitely. It was an adjustment because I had never had any type of surgery or been hurt anything like that before, but because I had spent my entire life watching you go through it and heal from it and still continue to move forward and be stronger, I was like, I can do the same thing. Like, if my mom can have all of this stuff, then I got this one little hour-long surgery, easy peasy.
How do you handle the emotional aspects of my illness?
I definitely pray a lot, and I'll tell you how I'm feeling, but most of the time I just have to remind myself that there's nothing I can do. And even if I had something to worry about, worrying's not going to solve anything. So I just kind of have to remind myself that, like, it is what it is and everything's going to be fine regardless.
Yeah, we give it to God.
And let it go.
You know, like you said, you grew up in it. What advice would you give other children whose parents or parent is living with a chronic illness?
I would definitely say to understand that your parent is going through a lot more than you will ever know unless you yourself are experiencing it. But they are doing their absolute best, and just don't stress about it. It's very difficult watching your parent go through something that you cannot do anything about, but just trust that they know their body and they know how to ask for help. Even if they don't, or if they're stubborn sometimes, eventually it's gonna get to a point where they have to. But it'll be okay. Just focus on you and make sure that you're okay, and because the better of a mental state that you're in, the better you'll be able to support and help out your parent.
Yeah, and anytime I've had a bad day, I mean, you've been there. You just, like I said, you'll get into bed with me, and then you'll just lay next to me, or you'll make some tea or something like that. But yep, you're always around. So, can you share any special routines or activities that we do together? That way to kind of maintain a sense of normalcy in the house?
I would say one thing that we did all the time was we would have movie nights pretty much every Friday. And no matter what, like, that's something that you can do no matter how you're feeling. If you had to lay in the bed, or if you just chose to lay in the bed to get extra rest, no matter what, whether we went to the movie theater or watched it at home, like, we pretty consistently had some type of movie night. And because that's just what we did as I was growing up, it still kept that sense of normalcy and comfort even throughout you going through breast cancer and, you know, me being a lot more aware of what was going on by then, that was still like nothing's gonna change. Like, yeah, you have breast cancer and you're dealing with surgeries and all of that, but we're still gonna sit here and watch movies while you heal.
Yeah, I agree. That was probably the best thing that we could do, and it was easy because, you know, whether I'm sick or hurting, I don't have to go to many places. I can just stay here at home and love on you. At the end of each episode that I have this thing what I call Healing Heartbeats. And, you know, I tell people that when they're going through depression, like, they need to just take some time so they can feel it. And, you know, do whatever you need to do, right? So, going through the stuff that I've gone through, I know there are times when you get depressed or down. So how do you handle it? And what advice will you give somebody who's going through something like that?
Well, I allow myself to just feel it. Whatever it is that I'm feeling, whether that's anger, if that's sadness, if that is anxiety, whatever it is, I let myself feel it at its fullest capacity. And I give myself time and space to release it instead of holding on to those feelings or trying to put them aside or act like they're not there. I just let them present themselves completely and get it out. And the more that I do that, the faster the process goes. So it's not like I sit there and I'm crying all day long. If I let myself cry as much as I need to, it's out, and, you know, an hour later I'm okay, or I'm somewhere along the lines of being okay again.
Yeah.
So just, I give myself the time and space to feel what I need to feel, and I'll be okay when I'm okay.
Okay, because, yeah, you can't wallow in it and stay there, because if you stay there, you won't be able to get past it. This is the end of part 1, Strength Through Support, A Family's Journey. Join us next week as we continue sharing our experiences and insights on living with chronic illnesses. Before we leave, I would like to close with the special portion of the show I call Healing Heartbeats. This is where we allow ourselves to wallow in sorrow. Please give yourself 3 minutes to laugh, cry, scream, cuss, or just sit in silence. Whatever you need to do to feel, do it. Let the depression end for only 3 minutes. Once you've reached 3 minutes, compartmentalize it and go back to living. This is a rinse and repeat behavior. You cannot let depression take over, because when it does, it will not let go. Do whatever you need to do to live. So go live in spite of having a chronic illness. Don't let it stop you. Until next time, remember, you have the strength, the support, and the heart to continue your journey. Be safe.